For those of you listening on audio, that's me banging my head on my desk over this Predators team.
You're Locked On Predators, your daily podcast on the Nashville Predators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yep, that's our team every day. Welcome to the Locked On Predators podcast. Thanks for making us your first listen of the day. We are a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to kick off this post-game recap, welcoming any first-time listeners and apologizing for what you're about to hear over the next 30 minutes. We also want to give a shout out to our Locked On Predators insiders and to our everydayers. You know, Emma and I are better people than we're about to prove. I'm Ann Kimmel. I'm a writer with Penalty Box Radio. I have a partner in crime.
I'm Emma Lingen, and I'm the Nashville Predators site editor and reporter for the Hockey News. And I would argue that I am not a better person than we're about to prove. But here we go.
Y'all, we try to put together a professional cold open for you. We try to just bring a little joy into your life. But today, after that Seattle loss, 3-0. I know the numbers are actually better than the last Seattle loss, 7-3. But for some reason, on today's episode, Emma and I have to talk about this 3-0 loss. And you're going to see some things and you're going to hear some things and we're going to say some things because I think we've gone off the rails. Before we dive into all of that, though, do want to let you know today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet. You're going to get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. You know what I wouldn't bet on, Emma? I wouldn't bet on the Nashville Predators. Y'all. Again, first-time listeners, I want you to know that Emma and I are delightful people. We generally are optimistic.
Anne is a delightful person.
You are delightful, Emma Lingen. You are delightful.
You.
We are optimistic people. We want this podcast and hockey in general to be a joy in your life. But today, we have to talk about this Seattle loss at the end of a 5-game road trip. And I'm going to be honest with you, Emma. Last night, up past my bedtime, which just FYI could also be part of the problem today, I literally just was like, I think I'm broken. This game has broken me. It started bad. It did not get better. But let's do this. We're going to try to regroup and be professional with this. Of course, you all know on the Locked On Predators podcast, we like to kick off our game recaps with one word to describe the game. Emma, remember, today of all days, we aren't allowed to swear. So we're going to try, y'all.
Well, that eliminates my top 3 one-word choices here. So
scratch. Yeah. What's one word to describe the 3-0 loss to the Seattle Kraken?
Bad.
Yeah.
Bad. It was bad. And it felt worse. The way I look at this loss, it's not just one loss. It felt like it meant so much more. At the risk of sounding like an SEC commercial, it just means more. I really do think this one did, because it was coming after a win, after like one of the most complete games that I think the Predators have played this season. They're looking to string some wins together. They're looking to string some momentum together.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of a 5-game road trip. And I know you're tired. And listen, I have done this exact road trip with the team before. I know how you're feeling at the end of it, but you're coming off a win. You should have some juju going into that. You're playing against a very beatable team. And it felt like more than just a single loss in November. Now, again, I will say it is November. So no loss right now is quite as bad as we think it is. But it brought out a lot of visceral reactions from a lot of people, and understandably so, because it's very frustrating to watch this team, especially when the scheduled 9 p.m. puck drop does not happen until 9:22. And
I want those 22 minutes of my life back.
I want that whole 60 minutes of my life.
Yes, also
Not
true.
that was not fun.
No, it is November. Emma and I will regroup and come back and be our charming selves, perhaps on tomorrow's show. It could take till Monday. I don't know. But this really did feel bigger. This felt bigger. My one word is puck knuckles, as in what in the ever loving puck knuckles was that performance? What was that?
I mean,
You know, to win a hockey game, this has been true since you started. You have to actually put the puck in the net and score goals to win. Now, Joey Decord, I do want to give my hats off to Joey Decord. He had some great saves.
you know who else had a freaking fantastic performance last night? Juuse freaking Saros. And this is a guy who is a notoriously slow starter. He sure hasn't been this year. And this team, this Predators team, is wasting a fantastic start from him. He looked unbelievable last night.
Unreal.
And,
yes.
And I think that they, like I said, they're wasting him. And this is something that we've seen before, of like, oh, Saros, kept them in the game, but it's like, no, that wasn't supposed to be what this team is about anymore. I mean, it's great. You have great goaltending, but like, do we need to keep testing it like that?
Yeah. I hope Juuse Saros did not speak to anybody on that plane ride home. I hope they filed past him silently, their eyes downcast while they handed him their peanuts. Because that man deserves all the peanuts, and they all need to just sit quietly and not look directly at him and think about what they did. Because you are right. That was a phenomenal Juuse Saros performance. This was a game-stealing performance. And this is a team that shouldn't need that from their goaltender. They got it and they wasted it. Juuse Saros, don't talk to them. Don't talk to them.
That's what made me so angry. I think watching the game, I mean, a lot of things made me angry about that game. Let's be real. But I think that was the most upsetting part. I mean, that was maybe one of the best games I've seen from Juuse Saros, and I've seen a lot of games from Juuse Saros. Yeah. And he ended up blocking. How many shots did he stop? Was it 32 or 34, something like that? But anyway, he only allowed 2 goals. Seattle's third goal was an empty netter. I mean, he just, and it was interesting watching because the game was a national broadcast on TNT. It was interesting listening to the broadcast team, because of course, it's like they're contractually obligated to bring up how short he is. They always have to do that. But it was so funny listening to them react to some of the saves he had, because he's just so quick, like darting from one side of the net. And they're like, whoa, how did he get there that fast? And I'm like, clearly you are not familiar with Juuse Saros' work. Because this is
the same thing. The national broadcast, and look, I think they did a great job, and they have to cover 32 teams. And so obviously those of us who cover one team, we see more, we know more. And so, I don't want to be super critical of them, because it's just a different job than what local coverage provides. But yeah, they were like going nuts over this Juuse Saros save. And look, it was an amazing save, but I'm like, y'all, he does that all the time. And
this is a regular Wednesday for him.
This is just what he does. And then the other one that got me was they were like, you can tell by Tommy Novak's reaction, his non-reaction, that he knows that was a kicked in goal. I'm like, that's just Tommy Novak's face. If Tommy Novak's legs were on fire, he would just look at you and he'd go, getting a little warm in here.
Be like, well, that sucks.
Yeah. Like that's just Tommy. No, like that's just Tommy. Yeah.
No, that one cracked me up because I think I tweeted about that too because they were like, oh, you can tell he doesn't look very celebratory. I'm like, I'm sorry, but has he ever? Like Tommy Novak could win the lottery and just be like, huh.
And he also wouldn't spend any of the money. All he would invest it. Probably with Spencer Stastny.
Honestly, I don't even know if he would invest. He's the guy who would like keep it under his mattress probably. And just never use it.
Right. You are so right. His kids one day will be like, Dad was rich. Nobody would know. We, of course, ask our Locked On Predators insiders for their one word. John said clueless. I have no idea how the team can correct their game with this personnel. Rebecca said, my one word, resigned. To be willing to accept something unpleasant or difficult that cannot be changed. Oh, Rebecca. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Corey said, I only watched the highlights, but based on what I saw, my one word is spectators. Too much watching, not enough efforting. Dustin said, my one word tonight is tank. Dustin, we don't say the T word here. I mean, I can think of other reasons. I can't think of other reasons to play this badly. Also want to give a shout out to Gene, who's a great friend of the show. Gene had a great one word. He said, retired doctor, because I have no more patience. I feel you, Gene. Coming up, we're going to break down some more specific things. We're going to try to autopsy this absolute horror that unfolded before us. And we're going to tell you what we think went wrong. We're also going to hear from Ryan O'Reilly, and we're going to hear from Andrew Brunette. Today's episode's brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel. It's America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL, and friends, it's all in one place. When you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can go and check out the latest stats. You can view live play-by-play and so much more, and it's all going to be on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You're going to get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Again, that's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. If you are looking forward to seeing this Predators team, well, don't listen to the rest of this podcast. Or if you just want to make some great fall memories with a live event, go and check out all the deals at Game Time. Game Time is the fastest and it's the easiest way to get tickets for your favorite sports, also for music, theater, comedy, concerts. Game Time has this great feature. It's called Game Time Picks, and it's going to make getting tickets to your favorite event easier. Game Time Picks is going to filter out all the fluff, and it's going to show you only incredible deals on great seats. So you're not going to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Right now, Game Time is having an exclusive zone deal for the NHL Winter Classic event at Wrigley Field. Go to Game Time app and purchase tickets to get 10% off bleacher seating, or you could get 20 to 25% off on home plate area seats. Game Time has a low price guarantee and the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. All right, Emma, back to talking about this hockey game. So fun. It started bad right out of the gate. I don't even know what to say about this. Like, this is literally like, it's third grade, put your name on your paper.
Yes, literally name and date, top of the paper.
Top of the paper. They did not. Oh, that's not true. I lied. They filled it in with the wrong name. So the Predators gave up a power play less than a minute in because somebody submitted the roster with the wrong name. And I get it. Stamkos and Forsberg, just a couple letters off and from two completely different word origins.
I guess we couldn't figure out the difference between 9 and 91. I get what's interesting, and again, I bring up the national broadcast. I freaking love Henrik Lundqvist. Anyone who follows me on Twitter knows this and knows that I had a very embarrassing moment the first time I met him, or not the first time I met him technically, but
tell us about that first, Emma, before you get into your point, because I can't wait.
Oh, when I was my first time covering a game at Madison Square Garden, and I had a horrible experience because I got stuck in a stairwell, couldn't get out. It was a whole thing. It like
Oh my gosh.
I thought I was gonna die in Madison Square Garden. I like couldn't get up, to the press box. Freaking Harry Potter building where all of the escalators only go up and they don't go down, and it was a whole thing. I went down the wrong stairwell. Listen, I survived. I'm here to tell the tale. But as a result, I was stuck for so long that I didn't have time to eat dinner before the game like I normally would. So I got food and brought it up to the press box with me. And I am like shoveling this food in my mouth because I am starving. And Henrik Lundqvist comes out of the booth, walks right past me. I happened to make eye contact with him. And he said, "Hey, how's it going?" I'm not kidding. Chipmunk face full of French fries. As he goes, "Hey, how's it going?" I'm like, "Huh?" And yeah, that was my embarrassing moment with Henrik Lundqvist. But anyway, I do think that he has some great insight as a member of the studio crew
I
on
like
TNT. And he did talk about this because, I think afterwards, at the first intermission, they were kind of asking, as were we all, how in the puck knuckles does something like that happen? Because it's not something you see every day. And he was explaining, he told a story about how one time in New York when he was not starting in net that night, and so he got to read the lineup in the locker room. And the way that the NHL, the official roster reports go is they submit the whole roster, but the names of the starters are in bold. But he said, he noted that the name of the captain is also bolded, and so he read the starters and included the captain, who was not a starter at the time. So as he read it out, the names he read out went out to start. And so they're like, okay. And he said in that case, they caught it like moments before the puck drop. And so they were able to switch it out really quick. So they didn't get a penalty. But I'm like, who from the Predators did not catch that? Like who? Anyway, it's like, seriously, this is what we're going to do. This is worse than like, this makes a too many men penalty look like nothing. Like
chestnut checkers.
Like, but I'm like, come on, you guys. It's like the attention to detail is clearly just not there at any level because what in the world? As a writer, I'm like, where was your editor? I'm like, come on now.
How many hands did that pass through? And look, you know what? Was it a game-changing thing? It sure wasn't. But that is not how you want to start a game, especially when it is such a checkers, not chess kind of penalty. You know what I'm saying? Like that you are kicking off the game and you are Charlie Brown and you have missed the football yet again. Like Lucy has pulled the football. We did hear from Ryan O'Reilly and Andrew Brunette after the game, and we edited out, all of most of Ryan O'Reilly's self-deprecation, which I think it was an honest inventory in this instance. But again, remember that every time I see Ryan O'Reilly do a post game, I hear the Sarah McLachlan SPCA song because
in the arms of the
angel, because it's just so sad. It's just so sad when we lose and Ryan O'Reilly has to do it.
I'm surprised that he didn't like single-handedly take the blame for that lineup being wrong. It's like, that
I know.
That was on me.
Yeah, he probably. Yeah. Remember, folks, we are collecting money for an extra sports psychologist appointment for Ryan O'Reilly post-loss games. But this is what Ryan O'Reilly and Andrew Brunette had to say about the game that has taken Emma and I down a dark, dark road.
It's disappointing. Definitely there for us. We're not putting the puck in there right now. Myself not putting the puck in there right now. It's tough because our goaltending's great to give us a chance to win these games, and when you aren't scoring, it's frustrating for everyone. It's just you can't win games if you're not going to score, and there's some opportunities there that we have to generate more and find a way to put the puck in the net.
I thought we had played with some pretty good pace. Obviously, scoring's hard to come by right now, and our margins and mistakes are so small. And I thought we had some stretches where we looked like us and created a little bit, failed to get in the inside, and we made some catastrophic mistakes that really, really hurt us right now. I think it's kind of been the same old story a little bit. Just kind of being ourselves at certain times, and again, the margins when you're not scoring and not feeling it right now, they're tiny. We don't really have enough mojo to overcome that.
And there's the sentence that I want to land on. I think Bruno does a great job of summing it up. The margins are so small and their mistakes are catastrophic. And what he says at the end, Emma, I don't think we have enough mojo to overcome it. One of our insiders, one word was broken. And this insider said there is something fundamentally broken with the team right now. There is no reason a team this talented should be getting shut out this often. Juuse was the only good player on that team. Again, it does feel like there is something fundamentally broken. Now, I say fundamentally broken. I will also say after this rant, I don't think that it is irretrievably broken. Like, I will say, for as angry as I am, I don't think we need to burn it down. Tomorrow's episode, we're going to talk about what we do with Andrew Brunette. Y'all aren't going to like that. Be sure you come back for it. But there does seem to be something fundamentally off with this team. And Andrew Brunette talked about not having enough mojo. Look, for those of you who follow me on social media, you know that just a couple weeks ago, we lost one of our dogs whose name was Mojo. And it has been devastating to our family. He used to sit in here while we would record. He was deaf, which is why he could tolerate it. But this team has lost their mojo, but they could get it back. What do they need to do, Emma? What is it that has the vibe or the mojo of this team so off?
Well, I think that's the nature of something like this, is that it's not just one thing. It's not easy to pinpoint. If it was, I don't think we'd be having this conversation. But it's hard because, you're seeing the team as a unit not playing well together. They are not getting to the net. My God, they're good. I texted you last night and I was like, I'm going to turn into that annoying drunk guy at the game. Like, shoot it. Because, and not even just shoot it, but like get to the freaking front of the net. Why are we scared? Why are we scared to get a shot off? I don't understand.
The slot is not lava. The slot is not lava.
But I have kind of a, maybe a spicy take here. It shouldn't be spicy, but I don't know. I think that, when it comes to things, when you're in a situation like this as a team, there needs to be accountability. And I think that as we said, there's plenty of blame to go around here. It's not just one or two people. It is really everybody. I will say, we talked about Saros had a fantastic game. You know who else I thought had a really, really good game? Juuse Saros. Juuse Saros was everywhere. I would also throw Zach LaRue, Mark Del Gaizo in there. They both looked very good.
Thank you.
Now, anyway, that kind of feeds into my point here about accountability. We saw Luke Evangelista was a healthy scratch last night for Phil Tomasino. He came back into the lineup fine. And then, of course, Mark Jankowski is the kind of perennial healthy scratch these days. Scratching or benching the extra forward or the kids does not send a message. I don't think that sends a message. It might send a message to that individual player. I mean, it should send a message to that individual player, but it doesn't send a strong enough message to the team.
Yeah.
I think if you really want to send a message about accountability, you have to hold your star players to higher standards. I don't think you start sending a message to the rest of the team until you bench a guy like Stamkos or Marchessault.
Yeah.
I really don't. And I think that is the kind of, it seems drastic and maybe it doesn't give you the best chance to win in that individual game. I totally understand that. But at the end of the day, it's like short-term loss versus long-term gain here. I think that there needs to be more accountability with this group.
Look, yes, if you bench one of your quote unquote star players, and I will say this, I'm not mad at Jonathan Marchessault because I can see how hard he's trying. My heart aches for Jonathan Marchessault because he wants to get going so bad and it hasn't happened yet. And so I hate that for him.
And
But
I also don't think it's just about like bench him because he's playing poorly. I think
no,
it's more about like you got to bench one of those guys because that forces the rest of the team to step up and not,
yes.
kind of sit back on their heels the way they have been.
Yeah. Nashville is at a point where honestly, you have started so poorly this season. This is their worst 20 game start in franchise history. They are 6-11-3. And I would sleep fine at night with that, except for the fact that this is a way better team than 6-11-3. Way better team. But at some point, you have to realize that you have dug such a hole that you either need to correct it immediately by, I don't know, benching somebody, or you need to just say, we're going to just take the long, slow chance that maybe we can pick up a couple wins here and there while we try to correct this. And I'm just not sure that there is enough mojo to take that long, slow climb out. Of course, like I said, on tomorrow's show, we're going to dive into the whole fire Andrew Brunette thing. We're just going to talk about it tomorrow. Go ahead, send us your feelings. We will receive them and we'll talk about them on tomorrow's show. Coming up, though, we are going to talk about this road trip overall. Has this 5-game road trip been a failure? We'll talk about that. Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. All you have to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. You can watch the winnings roll in. It's the way daily fantasy sports should be played. It is not you against 1,000 strangers. It's just you against the Prize Picks projections for your favorite players in your favorite sports. Prize Picks puts its members first, so all of the withdrawals are fast. They are safe. They are secure. When your picks hit, you can withdraw your money in as quick as 15 minutes. So download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNHL and you're going to get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code LOCKEDONNHL on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive that $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. So check out all of the action at Prize Picks. Run your game. All right, Emma, the Nashville Predators flew home last night. I hope sitting silently and not making eye contact with Juuse Saros. As I said earlier, don't even look at him, you all. Don't even look at him. They came home with 4, if I am correct, out of a possible 10 points in these 5 games. They were shut out in 2 of the last 5 games. What do you take away from this road trip, Emma? Besides gastrointestinal distress and disappointment?
I think that it goes back to my original SEC-esque comment of it just means more. I was feeling very different about this road trip before the Seattle game.
Agreed.
Even though, it was they only had 1 win in those first 4 games, but they had 3 points. And because they had 1 win, they had 2 overtime losses, and then they had the shutout loss to Calgary. So overall, I was not that disappointed. I was like, okay, if you're going to dig yourselves out of this hole, you got to start somewhere. You don't immediately just like shoot out of the hole. You got to climb your way out. And so
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, this is where you start. And then all it took was one game against Seattle, and it just looked, I mean, it was like a step backwards. It wasn't even, like they had plateaued. It was like they took steps backwards. And so it's hard for me to look at this road trip as a rousing success anymore. And I know a lot of people weren't going to look at it as a success regardless because of,
Right.
oh, they, got shut out to Calgary. They had 2 losses, whatever. I think, like, to me, it's all relative. And I was kind of looking at where they are, like, just kind of looking at it, not just based on the results, but looking at the whole game and the performance. Because I remember when I was in elementary school and we would get our report cards, and each subject you'd have, a grade, a letter grade, or a number or whatever, ABC. But then there was another column for all of our subjects, for all the grades, that was an effort grade.
Yes.
And you would get, like, one was like best effort through, like, I don't know what it went through. And I remember my parents always telling me, it's like, we don't care what the number or what the letter grade is for your subjects. We need you to have, as long as you have ones, maybe the occasional 2 in your effort grade,
Yes.
we're happy with that. We're happy with that. And that's how my parents raised me. And that's kind of how I felt about this team, is like, you know what? If you have a 1 in the effort column, I'm good with it. And it was like, whatever the worst number you could get in the effort column was the game against Seattle. And it was just not good. And so that, to me, was a lot more disappointing, except for Juuse Saros. He gets a 1.
Yes, he gets a 1.
But it was just, that's what made it so disappointing, I think.
Yeah. And it's strange because I'm not even sure if effort is the right word, in the sense that this team cares. This team wants to win. I think this team, for as frustrated as Emma and I are today, the team is even more frustrated. I think they want to get out of this. I think they're lost. I feel like this team is a little bit lost, and I think it's a combination of a number of factors, and we'll talk about this on tomorrow's show. But I think that there are a number of factors, and I think this team is mentally a little bit lost. Dustin, one of our insiders, he is the king of one words. If we had a crown, I would give it to Dustin. He said after the Calgary game, it was a Paula Abdul game. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And I'm like, that's this road trip. This was the Paula Abdul World Tour. 5 games from the Nashville Predators. 1 step forward, 2 steps back.
Yep.
I don't know where we're going to end up with this Nashville Predators team, but I have a sneaky suspicion if things don't turn around immediately, it's going to be sitting mid-April. It's going to be on the beach somewhere mid-April.
And I would just like to say, I know we are going to talk about this more on tomorrow's episode, but
Preview it, Emma.
for the love, things can be bad, and things right now are bad. No one is denying that. But things being bad does not equal tear it down to the studs right now, fire sale, everything goes. It's just not going to happen. Andrew Brunette, not getting fired. You heard it here first. We will talk about it tomorrow.
Yes. We're going to dive into that tomorrow. We're going to take a closer look at, like, what is it with this team? Emma and I, we're going to do some deep dives. We're going to look at some statistics. We're going to talk about our feelings. And we are going to talk about Andrew Brunette as the head coach of the Nashville Predators. So be sure that you jump back in with us on tomorrow's show. Hopefully, we will have regrouped a little bit. This has been helpful. I feel a little better than I did when I first started banging my head on my desk, because y'all, seriously, I went to bed last night at 1:15 hell freezing over. It was so late. And I laid in bed and I regretted so many of my life choices because of that Seattle game. Anyway, we're doing better now. Thank you. Emma, before we sign off, let everyone know where they can find you on social media and where they can find your work.
You can find me at Emma_Lingen on Twitter and Instagram, and you can find my work at the Hockey News.
And you can find me on social media at AnnK_Mama on Ice. You can find my work with Penalty Box Radio as well. Friends, that's going to do it for today's episode of the Locked On Predators podcast. You're welcome that we are ending this show because I know it was painful for us. I hope that it helped you feel maybe a little better to see us lose a lot of our Jesus. We will be back tomorrow, regrouped, refreshed, and ready to talk very seriously about this team moving forward. And Andrew Brunette is the head coach. Join us then.